Am I the asshole for hiring a cleaning service for my mom's house while she was in the hospital? I, a 36-year-old man, need some perspective on whether I overstepped or if I was just trying to help. My mom, who is 65, has always kept a messy home, and I mean really messy. Growing up, it was just something I got used to. There were always dishes piled in the sink, laundry scattered around, clutter on every surface, and a general sense of chaos. It wasn't dirty in a hoarding sense, but definitely unkempt. As I got older, I began to understand that this was probably linked to her mental health. She's struggled with depression and anxiety for as long as I can remember, and I think it made it hard for her to keep up with the house. It's not something we ever really talked about openly. My mom has always been a very proud and private person, and I think admitting she was struggling made her feel ashamed. So, we kind of danced around it. As an adult, I moved out, got married, and had my own family. My mom would visit us sometimes, but she almost never had people over to her place. She'd make excuses if we suggested dropping by, and I could tell it was because she was embarrassed about the state of her home. Still, it never reached a point where I felt like it was dangerous, or that I needed to intervene. A few weeks ago, my mom had a health scare. She fainted in her kitchen and ended up spending a week in the hospital. Thankfully, she's going to be okay, but it was a wake-up call for me. While she was in the hospital, all I could think about was how stressful it would be for her to come back to a messy house. I knew she'd be exhausted and probably overwhelmed, and I wanted to do something to make things a little easier for her. My wife suggested that we go over and clean the house ourselves, but I wasn't comfortable with that. As messy as it was still her space, and I felt like it would be a violation of her privacy to go through her things. We don't have the closest relationship, and I know how important her independence is to her. So I hired a professional cleaning company to come in and deep clean the house. I chose a company that's known for being discreet and respectful, and I asked them to focus on getting everything back to a fresh, livable state without throwing anything away. The company did an incredible job. It took 2 people working 3 days each to clean the entire house. Washing blinds, scrubbing baseboards, vacuuming carpets, mopping floors, and dusting every crevice. They cleaned out the fridge, wiped down the kitchen cabinets, and made sure everything was neat and organized. I felt a huge sense of relief, thinking that when my mom came home she'd walk into a clean, calm space where she could relax and recover without worrying about the mess. I didn't do it to shame her. I did it because I genuinely wanted to help. But when she got home and saw what I had done, she was furious. I'd taken a day off work to be there when she was discharged, and I was so excited to see her reaction. But as soon as she walked in the door, her face fell. She didn't say much at first, just kind of looked around in shock, and then she turned to me and said, "Why would you do this?" I tried to explain that I wanted her to have a clean, comfortable place to come home to, but she cut me off and said, "This is my house. You had no right." She's barely spoken to me since. I tried calling her a few days after she got home, and she didn't pick up. I left a message, apologizing if I overstepped, but I haven't heard back. My wife thinks my mom is overreacting and that I did a kind thing, but I'm starting to wonder if I made a huge mistake. I feel terrible because I genuinely thought I was helping. I didn't want to invade her privacy, which is why I didn't do the cleaning myself. I thought hiring professionals would be a better option because they could do the job efficiently without us having to go through her personal space. But now, I'm questioning everything. Maybe I should have asked her first, but I was worried she would refuse, and I didn't want her to come back to a house that would add to her stress. I get that her home is her domain, and maybe having someone else come in and clean it made her feel like I was judging her or trying to control her. But that wasn't my intention at all. I just wanted to take one thing off her plate after a really scary week, and now I feel like I've ruined our relationship. So, am I the asshole for hiring a cleaning service to clean my mom's house while she was in the hospital? Should I have just left things as they were and let her handle it on her own terms, or was it okay to step in and try to help, even if she didn't ask for it?